The microwave clock read 11:47 p.m. when my wife Laura dropped the bomb that would change everything. We were sitting at our kitchen table, the same oak table we'd bought 10 years ago when we first moved into this house, back when we still believed in forever. "I regret being with you," she said, her voice flat and emotionless, like she was reading a grocery list. My heart stopped. "What?" She looked at me with those green eyes that used to light up when I walked into a room. Now they were cold, distant. "I regret marrying you. I regret these 10 years. I sat there stunned, my coffee growing cold in my hands. "Why are you saying this?" "Because it's true." She didn't even blink. "What do you want, Laura?" "I want out. I want a divorce." Just like that. 10 years of marriage, 10 years of building a life together, dismissed in 4 sentences. She stood up and walked toward our bedroom without another word, leaving me alone with the wreckage of our marriage scattered across the kitchen table like broken dishes. I stared at my wedding ring, that simple gold band that had been on my finger for a decade. It felt heavy now, like it was made of lead instead of precious metal. I twisted it off slowly, the skin underneath pale and indented from years of wear. The ring sat on the table, catching the light from the overhead fixture. I picked up my phone and snapped a photo. Just the ring, sitting alone on the dark wood. No explanation needed. I opened Facebook and posted the image with a simple caption, "Single again." My finger hovered over the post button for maybe 3 seconds. Then I hit it and set the phone down. 5 minutes later, it buzzed with a message notification. The name on the screen made my pulse quicken. Ashley Martinez, a coworker from the accounting department. Pretty brunette, always friendly, but we'd never talked much outside of work. She was the kind of woman who turned heads in the office hallway, but I'd been married, so I'd kept my distance. I opened the message. "I saw your post. Are you okay?" I stared at the screen, not sure how to respond. Was I okay? Hell no. My wife had just told me she regretted our entire marriage. But something about Ashley reaching out felt like a lifeline in the middle of a shipwreck. "Honestly, no," I typed back. Her response came quickly. "If you want to talk, I'm here." "Thanks. I appreciate it." Then another message appeared that made my heart skip. "I know this might be weird timing, but I've had feelings for you for a while." I read it 3 times, making sure I wasn't hallucinating. Ashley Martinez had feelings for me? The Ashley Martinez who could have her pick of any single guy in the office? She continued typing. "I never said anything because you were married, but if you ever want to get coffee..." I found myself smiling for the first time all evening. Maybe it was the shock, maybe it was the need for human connection after Laura's emotional sledgehammer. But I typed back, "I'd like that." "Really?" "Yes, I need a distraction right now." "Tomorrow? There's a cafe on 5th Street called Roasters." "Sure. What time?" "How about 10? I know it's Saturday, but 10 works perfect." I set the phone down and looked around our kitchen. My kitchen now, I supposed. Laura's coffee mug still sat in the sink from this morning. Her reading glasses were folded next to a stack of mail on the counter. 10 years of shared life, and she regretted all of it. But Ashley Martinez wanted to have coffee with me. I walked to the bedroom door and listened. Laura was on the phone with someone, her voice muffled through the wood. Probably her sister Jennifer, who'd never liked me anyway. I could hear fragments. "Finally told him. Couldn't pretend anymore. Need to find a lawyer." So this wasn't a momentary breakdown. This was planned. I went back to the kitchen and poured myself a whiskey. The ring still sat on the table where I'd left it. 10 years ago, I'd saved for 3 months to buy that ring. Laura had cried when I proposed, said it was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. Now, she regretted it all. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Ashley. I'm really sorry about what you're going through. No one deserves that. Thanks. See you tomorrow. I finished my whiskey and headed to the guest bedroom. If Laura wanted out, she could have the master bedroom tonight. I was done sharing a bed with someone who regretted my existence. As I lay in the unfamiliar bed, staring at the ceiling, I thought about Ashley's message. She'd had feelings for me. How long? How had I missed it? Then again, I'd been so focused on trying to make my marriage work that I'd been blind to everything else. Maybe that was about to change. Saturday morning came gray and drizzly, matching my mood perfectly. Laura was already gone when I woke up, probably to Jennifer's house to strategize about the divorce. She'd left a note on the kitchen counter. Gone to my sister's. We need to talk about logistics when I get back. Logistics. Like our marriage was a business deal gone bad. I showered, shaved, and put on my best jeans and a button-down shirt. If I was having coffee with Ashley Martinez, I wasn't going to look like a man whose world had imploded 12 hours earlier. Roasters was a cozy little place with exposed brick walls and the kind of atmosphere that made you want to linger over your coffee. I arrived 5 minutes early and grabbed a corner table, my nerves jangling like wind chimes in a storm. Ashley walked in at exactly 10 o'clock, and I remembered why she turned heads. She wore a simple sundress that showed off her curves, her dark hair falling in waves past her shoulders. But it was her smile that got me, warm and genuine, like she was actually happy to see me. "Hey," she said, sliding into the seat across from me. "How are you holding up?" "Like a house of cards in a hurricane," I said, "but better now that you're here." She laughed, a sound I realized I'd been missing without knowing it. "That bad, huh?" Laura just, out of nowhere, she said she regretted our entire marriage. 10 years, Ashley. She regretted all of it. Ashley reached across the table and touched my hand. Her fingers were warm, soft. "I'm so sorry. That's horrible. The worst part is, I don't even know why. Things weren't perfect, but I thought we were okay. I thought we were working through our problems. Sometimes people just change," Ashley said. "They want different things, become different people. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong." I studied her face, looking for signs that this was pity, that she was just being nice to a pathetic divorced guy. But her eyes were sincere, concerned. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Last night you said you'd had feelings for me. How long?" She blushed, a pink tint spreading across her cheeks. "About 2 years. Ever since you helped me with that budget analysis project. You stayed late 3 nights in a row to help me figure out the discrepancies." I remembered that project. Ashley had been stressed, overwhelmed by the numbers that wouldn't balance. I'd offered to help because she'd looked so frustrated. I was married then. I know. That's why I never said anything. You were devoted to Laura. Anyone could see that. It was actually one of the things I admired about you. And now? Now you're free. She squeezed my hand. "I know the timing is awful, and if you need space to process everything, I understand. But I couldn't let this chance pass by." We talked for 3 hours. About work, about life, about dreams and disappointments. Ashley was funny, smart, easy to talk to. She listened when I vented about Laura's bombshell, offered insights without trying to fix everything. By the time we left the cafe, I felt more like myself than I had in months. "Would you like to do this again?" I asked as we stood beside her car. "I'd love to. Tomorrow?" "Actually, I was thinking tonight. Dinner?" Her smile could have powered the entire city. "It's a date." I drove home feeling lighter than I had in years. Maybe Laura's confession was the best thing that could have happened to me. Maybe I'd been as trapped as she was, just too stubborn to admit it. Laura's car was in the driveway when I pulled up. Time to face the music. She was in the living room with Jennifer, both of them surrounded by legal documents and laptop computers. Jennifer looked up when I walked in, her expression sour as always. "There he is," Jennifer said, "the husband who drove his wife to desperation." "Jennifer," Laura warned, but without much conviction. "What desperation?" I asked. "I worked 2 jobs to pay for this house. I cooked dinner most nights. I remembered anniversaries and birthdays. What exactly did I do wrong?" "You smothered her," Jennifer snapped. "You never gave her space to grow, to become her own person." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Is that what we're calling it? Because last night Laura said she regretted our entire marriage. That sounds less like smothering and more like she never loved me in the first place." Laura finally looked at me. "That's not true." "Then what is true? Because I'm confused. Yesterday morning we were married. Last night you regretted 10 years with me. Today you're planning a divorce. Help me understand the timeline here." "I've been unhappy for a while," Laura said quietly. I couldn't pretend anymore." "How long is a while?" 2 years. Maybe 3. 3 years. She'd been miserable for 3 years and never said a word. Never suggested counseling, never tried to work on our problems. Just silently resented me while I thought we were building a life together. "Well," I said, "I guess that makes this easier." "Makes what easier?" Jennifer asked. "The divorce. If she's been unhappy for 3 years, then we're both wasting our time trying to save this marriage." I walked to the kitchen and grabbed the ring from where I'd left it on the table. When I came back, I set it on the coffee table in front of Laura. "Keep it or sell it, I don't care, but I want you both out of my house by tomorrow night." "Your house?" Jennifer stood up, her face red with indignation. "Laura has just as much right to this house as you do." "Actually, she doesn't." I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my photos until I found what I was looking for. This house was a wedding gift from my grandfather. The deed is in my name only. Laura never contributed to the mortgage payments because she was building her career. I showed them the photo of the deed. Laura's face went pale. "You can't just kick her out," Jennifer sputtered. "Watch me. Laura, you want a divorce? Fine. But you're not getting half of everything just because you decided you regret marrying me. You want out? Get out." Laura finally found her voice. "Where am I supposed to go?" "Jennifer's house, a hotel, an apartment. I really don't care anymore." I walked toward the stairs, then turned back. "Oh, and Laura? I have a date tonight, with someone who doesn't regret being with me." The look on both their faces was worth 10 years of marriage. That evening, I took Ashley to Romano's, an upscale Italian place downtown. She wore a black dress that made my heart skip, and I found myself wondering how I'd been so blind to her for 2 years. "You seem different tonight," she said over wine and candlelight. "More confident." "I feel different, like I've been sleepwalking for years and finally woke up." "Any regrets about moving so fast? I mean, you were married yesterday." I considered the question seriously. "You know what I regret? Wasting 3 years trying to make someone happy who was determined to be miserable. Laura checked out of our marriage 3 years ago but never bothered to tell me. That must have been lonely." "It was. I just didn't realize how lonely until now." Ashley reached across the table and took my hand. "Well, you're not alone anymore." We talked about everything and nothing, the conversation flowing as easily as the wine. When I walked her to her car, she kissed me, soft, tentative at first, then with growing passion. "I should probably take this slow," she whispered against my lips. "Probably," I agreed, then kissed her again. "But I don't want to." "Good. Neither do I." We went back to her apartment, a cozy, one-bedroom place that actually felt like a home, unlike the house I'd shared with Laura. Ashley had books on the shelves, plants by the windows, photographs of friends and family on the walls. It was warm, lived in, loved. I woke up Sunday morning with Ashley curled against my side, her hair tickling my chest. For the first time in years, I felt completely at peace. My phone buzzed with a text message. Laura. We need to talk. I deleted it without responding. Monday at work, word had already spread about my separation. The office grapevine was faster than social media when it came to personal drama. My friend Mike from IT stopped by my desk around 10. Heard you and Laura are splitting up, he said, keeping his voice low. Sorry, man. That sucks. Actually, it doesn't, I said. Best thing that's happened to me in years. Mike raised an eyebrow. That's not what I heard from Jennifer. You talked to Jennifer? She called Susan last night, said you kicked Laura out of the house with nowhere to go, said you were being vindictive and cruel. Susan was Mike's wife, and she and Jennifer had been friends since college. I should have seen this coming. Did Jennifer mention that Laura told me she regretted our entire 10-year marriage, or that she'd been planning this divorce for months? Mike shifted uncomfortably. She said Laura was unhappy, yeah, but kicking her out of the house seems harsh. It's my house, Mike. My grandfather's wedding gift. Laura never paid a dime toward the mortgage. Still, man, 10 years of marriage has to count for something. I stared at him, realizing that our friendship was about to become another casualty of my divorce. You know what? You're right. 10 years should count for something. Too bad Laura didn't think so when she told me she regretted all of it. Mike left without another word, and I knew I'd lost a friend. By lunch, 3 more friends had stopped by to express their concern about my treatment of Laura. By the end of the day, I understood that Jennifer's narrative was winning. I was the cruel husband who'd abandoned his wife in her time of need. The irony was suffocating. Ashley met me at my car in the parking lot. Rough day? Getting rougher by the hour. Apparently, I'm the villain in this story. According to who? According to everyone who's heard Jennifer's version of events. Ashley slipped her arm through mine. Well, I know the real story, and I know the real you. That night, over dinner at my house, I told Ashley about the friends who were choosing sides, about the whisper campaign Jennifer was running against me. It's like high school all over again, I said, except we're all pushing 40 and should know better. Maybe you're better off without friends like that, Ashley said. Real friends would want to hear your side before passing judgment. She was right, but it still stung. I'd known Mike for 8 years. We'd gone to baseball games together, barbecued in each other's backyards, been best man at each other's weddings. Now he was treating me like I'd committed some unforgivable sin. My phone rang. Laura's name appeared on the screen. Don't answer it, Ashley said. I have to. We still need to work out the divorce details. I answered on the 4th ring. What do you want, Laura? We need to talk, face to face. About what? About us. About what happened. I think I made a mistake. I looked at Ashley, who was watching me with concern. No, you didn't make a mistake. You told me exactly how you felt. You regret being with me. Message received. I was angry. I said things I didn't mean. For 3 years? You were angry for 3 years and just forgot to mention it? Silence on the other end. Laura, it's over. Sign the divorce papers and move on with your life. What about our friends? What about everything we built together? Our friends chose sides, and they didn't choose mine. As for what we built, you said you regretted all of it, so there's nothing left to discuss. I hung up and turned off the phone. She wants you back, Ashley said. It wasn't a question. Doesn't matter what she wants. I'm done being married to someone who regrets being with me. Ashley moved closer on the couch, curled up against my side. Good, because I'm not sharing. That made me laugh for the first time all day. Possessive, are we? When it comes to you? Absolutely. 2 weeks later, I was at Murphy's bar with Ashley, celebrating her promotion to senior accountant, when Mike, Jennifer, and Laura walked in. Of all the bars in town, they had to choose this one. Ashley noticed them first. We can leave if you want. No, I'm not running from them. But they weren't planning to ignore us either. Jennifer made a beeline for our table, with Mike and Laura trailing behind like reluctant backup singers. Well, well, Jennifer said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. If it isn't the loving husband who abandoned his wife for his office tramp. Ashley started to stand up, but I put a hand on her arm. Don't. She's not worth it. Office tramp? Ashley said, her voice deadly calm. That's rich, coming from someone who's been married 3 times. Jennifer's face turned red. At least I didn't break up a marriage. Neither did I, Ashley replied. Your sister did that all by herself when she told her husband she regretted their entire relationship. That's enough, Mike said, stepping forward. We didn't come here to fight. Then why did you come here? I asked. To try to talk sense into you, Mike said. Laura made a mistake. She was going through a rough patch, said some things she didn't mean. But you're throwing away 10 years of marriage for some office fling. I stood up slowly, feeling my temper rise. Office fling? I've been dating Ashley for 2 weeks. Laura's been regretting our marriage for 3 years. Do the math, Mike. She was depressed, Jennifer interjected. She needed support, not abandonment. She needed honesty, I shot back. If she'd told me 3 years ago that she was unhappy, we could have worked on it. Instead, she let me think everything was fine while she planned her escape. Laura finally spoke up. I'm sorry, okay? I handled it badly, but we can fix this. I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time since that night in the kitchen. She looked tired, older somehow. There were dark circles under her eyes, and she'd lost weight. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Fix what, Laura? You said you regretted being with me. You said you regretted our entire marriage. Those aren't words you take back. I was angry. For 3 years? I was confused. I didn't know what I wanted. And now you do? She glanced around the bar, aware that other patrons were starting to stare. Can we please talk about this privately? No. You want to air our dirty laundry through Jennifer's gossip network, then we can discuss it publicly. Mike stepped closer, his jaw clenched. You're being an ass, Tom. Laura's trying to apologize. And I'm supposed to just forgive and forget? Go back to being married to someone who spent 3 years regretting being with me? She made a mistake. No, Mike, I made the mistake. I wasted 10 years trying to make someone happy who was determined to be miserable. I'm not making that mistake again. So you're just going to throw it all away for her? Jennifer pointed at Ashley like she was something distasteful. That's when I lost my temper completely. Throw what away? A marriage where my wife secretly resented me for 3 years? Friends who take her side without even hearing my story? A life where I was walking on eggshells trying not to upset someone who'd already checked out? I stepped closer to Mike, close enough to see the surprise in his eyes. You want to know what I'm throwing away? Nothing, because there was nothing left to throw away. Laura killed our marriage 3 years ago. She just forgot to tell me. That's not fair, Laura said, tears starting to flow. Fair? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. You know what's not fair? Wasting 3 years of my life on someone who didn't want to be there. You know what's not fair? Having my friends turn against me because your sister can't tell the truth. I turned to Mike. You want to know what really happened? Laura came home 2 weeks ago and said she regretted being with me. Not that she was unhappy, not that we needed counseling, not that she wanted to work on our problems. She regretted our entire relationship. So I took off my wedding ring and posted a picture with the caption, "Single again." 5 minutes later, Ashley, who's been nothing but kind and supportive, reached out to make sure I was okay. Mike shifted uncomfortably. Jennifer said what she wanted you to hear. Did she mention that Laura had been planning this divorce for months? Did she tell you that Laura never contributed a dime to our mortgage payments? Did she explain that the house Laura wanted half of was a wedding gift from my grandfather? Silence. I didn't think so. I pulled out my wallet and threw a 20 on the table. Ashley, let's go. I'm done being the villain in someone else's story. As we walked toward the door, Jennifer called out, "You'll regret this, Tom. You'll regret throwing away everything good in your life." I stopped and turned back to face her. You know what I regret, Jennifer? I regret not ending this marriage 3 years ago when Laura first started being miserable. I regret wasting my time trying to fix something that was already broken. But I don't regret walking away from people who think I should stay married to someone who doesn't want me. Laura was crying openly now. Please, Tom, we can go to counseling. We can work this out. No, we can't. Because you don't love me, Laura. You probably never did. And I'm done pretending that's okay. I took Ashley's hand and walked out of the bar, leaving my old life behind. 3 months later, the divorce was final. Laura got her freedom and nothing else. I kept the house, the car, and what was left of my dignity. Most of our mutual friends had chosen her side, but I discovered I didn't miss them as much as I'd expected. Ashley and I had been taking things slow, but after the confrontation at Murphy's bar, we'd grown closer. She'd moved in with me the previous month, and the house finally felt like a home again. I was in the kitchen making coffee Saturday morning when Ashley came downstairs with a strange expression on her face. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Laura called me." I set down the coffee pot. "She what?" "She called my cell phone, asked if we could meet for coffee." "What did you tell her?" "I told her I'd think about it." Ashley sat down at the kitchen table. "I'm curious about what she wants." "Probably to convince you that I'm the devil, and you should run while you still can." "Maybe. Or maybe she wants closure." I poured 2 cups of coffee and sat down across from her. "You want to meet with her?" "Part of me does. I want to understand how someone could throw away what you two had." "We didn't have anything, Ashley. That was the problem. You had 10 years together. That has to mean something." I thought about it. Maybe Ashley was right. Maybe it would be good for her to hear Laura's side of the story, to understand what she was getting into with me. "Okay," I said. "Meet with her. But I want to know what she says." Ashley smiled and leaned across the table to kiss me. Deal. That afternoon, while Ashley was meeting with Laura, I decided to clean out the garage. I'd been putting it off for months, but I needed something to keep my hands busy while I waited to hear what my ex-wife wanted to tell my girlfriend. I was boxing up old Christmas decorations when I found it, a photo album Laura had made for our 5th anniversary. 5 years of love, the cover read in her careful handwriting. I flipped through the pages, looking at pictures of us from our early years together. We looked happy in those photos, young, optimistic, in love. What had changed? When had Laura started regretting being with me? My phone buzzed with a text from Ashley. "On my way home. We need to talk." That didn't sound good. Ashley walked into the garage an hour later, her face unreadable. She sat down on an overturned crate and looked at me for a long moment. "Well?" I said. "She's pregnant." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What?" "Laura's pregnant. 2 months along." I sat down heavily on another crate, my mind reeling. Is the baby mine?" She says no. She's been seeing someone since the divorce was finalized. A guy named Kevin from her yoga class. Relief flooded through me, followed immediately by a strange sadness. Laura was moving on, starting a family with someone else. The finality of it was overwhelming. "There's more," Ashley said quietly. "More?" "She wanted me to know why she really left you." I braced myself for whatever revelation was coming. "She said she never stopped loving you, but she was scared." "Scared of what?" "Of being ordinary. She said you were the kind of man who would have been happy with a simple life. Kids, family dinners, weekend barbecues. But she wanted more. She wanted to travel, to build a career, to be someone important." And she couldn't do that with me? She said every time she looked at you, she saw the life she didn't want, the suburban housewife life her mother had. So she convinced herself that you were holding her back, that she'd be happier without you. I stared at the photo album in my hands. 5 years of love, reduced to a fear of being ordinary. But now she's pregnant with some yoga instructor's baby? Ashley nodded. Apparently, Kevin's different. He's adventurous, spontaneous. They're planning to move to California after the baby's born. So she got what she wanted. That's not all she wanted to tell me. Ashley took a deep breath. She wanted me to know that you're a good man, that you deserved better than what she gave you, and she wanted to apologize for the way she handled things. A little late for apologies. She knows that. But she also wanted me to know what I was getting. A man who would love me completely, who would put family first, who would be faithful and devoted even when things got difficult. I looked up at Ashley. And what did you tell her? Ashley smiled, the first real smile I'd seen from her all day. I told her I already knew all that, and I told her I was sorry she was too scared to appreciate it when she had it. That evening, we were sitting on the back deck watching the sunset when Ashley brought up Laura again. Do you think she's right? About you being the kind of man who wants a simple life? Is that what you want to know? Whether I'll be happy with ordinary? Maybe. I pulled her closer on the porch swing. Ashley, I spent 10 years trying to be enough for someone who didn't want me. Now I'm with someone who does want me, exactly as I am. If that's ordinary, then ordinary is pretty damn extraordinary. She laughed and kissed me. Good answer. Besides, I added, there's nothing ordinary about you. My phone buzzed with a text message. Laura's name appeared on the screen. Thank you for letting Ashley meet with me. I know I don't deserve your kindness, but I wanted you to know that I'm sorry. For everything. You're a good man, and you deserve to be happy. I hope you are. I showed the message to Ashley. Are you going to respond? She asked. I thought about it for a moment, then typed back, I am happy. Good luck in California. Then I deleted her number from my phone. No regrets? Ashley asked. I looked at this amazing woman who'd chosen to love me, who saw my desire for a simple, committed life as a strength rather than a weakness. None whatsoever. 6 months later, Ashley and I were engaged. I proposed at the same restaurant where we'd had our first real date, with the same ring I'd bought for Laura, but this time it went to someone who wanted it. Laura sent a congratulations card from California. Inside, she'd written, I'm glad you found someone who appreciates what I was too foolish to value. I showed the card to Ashley, who read it and then tossed it in the trash. The past is the past, she said. I'm only interested in our future. Our wedding was small, intimate, filled with people who actually wanted to be there. Mike didn't make the guest list, but I didn't miss him. Some friendships don't survive the truth, and that's okay. As I watched Ashley walk down the aisle toward me, radiant in her wedding dress, I thought about that night in the kitchen when Laura had dropped her bomb. She'd said she regretted being with me, and I'd taken off my wedding ring and posted "single again" on social media. 5 minutes later, a pretty coworker had written to me. 5 minutes that changed everything. Laura had been right about one thing. I was the kind of man who wanted a simple life. I wanted Sunday morning coffee with someone I loved, family dinners around our kitchen table, weekend barbecues with real friends. I wanted to grow old with someone who chose me every day, not someone who spent years regretting being with me. As Ashley reached the altar and took my hands, I realized that sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is having someone tell you they regret being with you. Because it frees you to find someone who doesn't. Someone who sees your love as a gift, not a burden. Someone who wants the same simple, extraordinary life you do. The minister asked if I took Ashley to be my wife, and I said yes without hesitation. This time, I was marrying someone who wanted to be there, someone who saw our future as an adventure rather than a trap. Laura had gotten her exciting life in California with her yoga instructor boyfriend and their baby. I'd gotten something better, a life with someone who chose me, not despite who I was, but because of who I was. As Ashley and I kissed to seal our marriage, I thought about that Facebook post one more time. Single again, I'd written, thinking my life was over. Instead,